Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Deku Married Jirou, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Jirou could feel her cheeks in pain from grinning like an idiot for such a long time, finding the best position that allowed her to snuggle up as close as possible to Izuku. He was lightly snoring but kept a firm grip on her hand. This was a situation straight out of a rom-com, but she was beginning to understand why people like clichés as much as they do. "Oh shit," she groaned, covering her face while still in the comfort of Izuku's toned arms, the memories of what she did last night coming back to her. While she most certainly had no regrets, she couldn't believe how rapidly their level of intimacy had increased overnight. It must have been some kind of record. And God Almighty, her moans and screams. She could only pray to whatever God existed that nobody heard them. Especially Hagakure, who lived on the same floor. She looked at Izuku, who was still sleeping with that adorable smile, and failed to resist the urge to kiss him awake. He rubbed his sleepy eyes as he sat upright. Morning, Kyoka. I'm going to assume you just kissed me awake. What time is? Oh, fuck. Realizing exactly what they had done last night, Izuku did the same. He had just spent an extremely sensual, intimate night at the dorm. With a girl. In her own room. As Kaminari would say, we done fucked up. We're lucky that I woke up early. It's still 6 a.m. Get your clothes and get to your room before someone sees you. Alright. Jumping off the bed, Izuku quickly got dressed and headed for the door. See you in class, I guess. Hey, yeah, I'll see you then. As the door closed quietly, Jirou buried her face into her pillow, kicking her legs about in embarrassment and joy. They were officially together now, pretty much just blasting through the levels of intimacy that would rival the intensity of All Might's Texas Smash in a single night. All except one, that is. That aside, it was the best night of her life. Who knew the usually socially awkward nerd transformed into a beast between the sheets when his juices were flowing? Plus, seeing that assertive and rather aggressive side of him, was kind of a turn on, to be honest, not to mention being on the receiving end of that considerately gentle but undeniably aggressive passion. And giving back, oh that was fun, watching him squirm and beg at every touch. If that was what foreplay was like, she couldn't imagine how actually having sex would feel. She shuddered at the thought, partially out of fear and partially out of anticipation. Though she didn't mind being marked as Izuku's, she had to figure out a way to hide all the bite marks and hickeys that were covering her entire body in the next hour or so. Luckily there were no classes related to heroics that day that would require changing. Now where the fuck's that bottle of aloe? The halls of the second floor where Izuku lived was deserted as he made his way back to his own room before being spotted by anyone. Getting down on all fours, he began doing his morning sets of calisthenics, starting with push-ups, taking at least 3 seconds for each repetition before rising up and clapping his hands together. He was definitely not himself last night. What the hell happened? What was all that assertiveness? That aggression that made Jirou squirm, orgasm, sound off like crazy and retaliate in kind. It certainly felt amazing doing what he did with her and letting her do everything she did, but Izuku couldn't help feeling slightly worried at the discovery of this side of himself that was completely foreign until last night. God, what's happening to me? Now he had to think of a way to circumvent certain people who are bound to ask questions about what is going on between him and Jirou, along with where the red welts and bite marks came from. While not as bad as the secret of One for All getting out, the exposure of this new secret would bring about a string of its own problems. Aizawa would most certainly chew him out with those emotionless, dreadfully dry, dagger-like eyes. All Might may be supportive but not enthusiastic. He was officially retired now, and there were things he was expecting. First and foremost, results, such as further control over Full Cowl and increase in its power output. Now more than ever, especially with Sir Night Eyes passing. Ida, being the straight and narrow stickler, would be giving him an earful for the rest of the week, most likely along with Yaoyorozu. Bakugo would be screaming in his face as per usual, and the girls, especially Ashido, would be gossiping about this until this was widespread information. The alternative likely candidate would be Hagakure, since she lived on the same floor as Jirou, who may have in fact heard the voices. Despite the walls being soundproofed, they were pretty loud. He had no choice. Though he would have to discuss this further with Jirou, this was going to have to be kept under wraps. Finishing up with the calisthenics, he went downstairs to take a shower. He wore a zipped-up hoodie as an extra precaution. The door to the bathrooms opened, and just as he had anticipated, the class representative Ida Tenya himself walked out with a shower bag and towel in hand. "Oh, good morning, Midoriya. Very commendable to see you up early this morning." Hey, Ida." Izuku greeted him with a nervous smile and a brief wave. "Midoriya, are you, perhaps, feeling unwell?" the bespectacled boy asked, his eyes narrowing in genuine concern. "And no, not particularly." "Why do you ask?" Izuku asked back with a stiff, nervous smile. It was in these particular moments that he wished he wasn't such a horrible liar. "You have several red spots right where the neck and torso connect. Right in between the clavicles. Unfortunately, I am no doctor and therefore cannot give you a proper diagnosis, but..." These. "No, it's nothing to worry about, really, just welts from burning myself. I accidentally let some tea dribble down when it went down the wrong pipe. It was pretty hot, so, why you know." I see. Quite unfortunate, but you seem to be doing fine. Sorry to keep you. I'll see you in class." "Sure. Yeah." Counting his blessings for Ida's gullibility, he got into one of the shower stalls, letting ice-cold water fall on his body. The clock on the wall in his room read 6:45 a.m. when he left. Counting the time needed to pack his bag and get dressed for classes, he should have enough to strategize how to go about this. Barely even drying his hair, he quickly changed into his UA uniform and made his way back to his room to look over his homework. In class before homeroom started, Kirishima could tell that something was wrong. Not wrong as in bad, but more out of the ordinary than anything else. Izuku looked strangely confident in his skin, a strange, unmistakable glint in his eye. Like he just met his own guardian angel or something. That, and there was this bounce in his step during the 5 minutes it took to get from the dorms to class, and upon asking him what he was listening to, Izuku revealed it was an old-school hip-hop song that his pink horn buddy recommended for workouts. The resident shy guy of Class 1A was listening to a ludicrous song. In the morning. Nothing could be more out of the ordinary than that, short of Mineta suddenly renouncing his pervy ways and going to a convent. That or Bakugo being genuinely kind to someone. And then there was Jirou. The rocker girl who usually had a more aloof expression, unless she was laughing her ass off at Kaminari short-circuiting his brain or conversing with the other girls about God knows what, was sporting $1 million smile. While it was not wise to assume anything, as Aizawa has always stressed to have a flexible, open mind in any situation, in this instance it was pretty safe to say that the two have gotten together overnight, officially. "Nice going, Midoriya," he whispered to himself with a toothy grin, but saying no more. As a man who had given his word, there was nothing that could force anything to bend his principles. Unless told otherwise by either Jirou or Izuku, their secret will remain safe with him. That or until people figure it out on their own. His thoughts were interrupted when his horn buddy from Mustafu tapped him on the shoulder with a pink index finger. "What's up? Are they, together now?" Ashido asked in a hushed tone, glancing at Izuku and Jirou. "Probably. Damn," she chuckled, "that's gotta be like a world record, but this is gonna be super awkward later." "Why would you say?" "Oh, right, yeah, probably. But just. Yeah, I got it. Hush, down low, right. No, seriously. I know for a fact that Jirou talked to you. She talked to me. I do not need the potential collateral damage coming my way because you couldn't be discreet. I got it, okay. Geez, I know my social cues, Kirishima. What do you take me for, the village idiot? No, just. Let's be honest here, you're the more gossipy one of the two of us. Alright, fine, I'm gonna let you have that one. But I know when to keep my mouth shut. We stay quiet, let them sort it out and step in if need be. Sound good? The heap of considerateness coming off from you right now is kinda bizarre, but yeah. Sounds good. Just make sure you follow through. Jerk. She punched him playfully in the shoulder with a grin, but stuck her thumb up reassuringly. Jirou was smiling, stealing occasional glances at her boyfriend busily scribbling something in his notebook until she saw her friend and classmate walk into the classroom. It instantaneously turned her heart into ice when she realized the fact that a predicament of significant gravity had been overlooked. Okako Uraraka, the girl who almost unmistakably had a crush on Izuku longer than she has. And she had just effectively whisked him out from under the brunette's nose in a single night when she said that there was nothing romantic going on with him a week ago. How in the hell was she going to tell her about this? Or to anyone, for that matter. If it's not one thing that's gone wrong in this crazy life, it's a fucking nother. This was that Ricky Martin song at its finest moment, in the worst way possible. She made a mental note to pull Izuku aside to talk to him during or after lunch. They had issues that needed to be addressed, as soon as possible. She could already see that it wasn't going to end well, so the sooner the better. Sending a message to meet on her phone, Jirou focused her attention to the front as Aizawa rolled into class in his usual yellow sleeping bag as the door slid open. "So, last night happened," Jirou said, meeting back in a vacant class after finishing lunch early. "Let me guess, you're having second thoughts," Izuku mumbled, his eyes subtly glancing away from her. "I mean, I can't exactly blame you, I'm." No, that's no. "Of course not," Jirou said, taking his hand and holding it tight. "Look, I'm the one that asked you out in the first place, okay? I would be such a bitch if I did something so irresponsible to you, and I'd never forgive myself for playing you like that. Make no mistake about how I feel about you. I meant what I said back there. But just, last night, we were so caught up in the moment, like you said. We flew off the fucking handlebars. Like, sky high, stratosphere high. And I'm just not comfortable enough about having everyone know about us. Yet. Some people already know, I think. If you're talking about Ashido and Kirishima, we'll be fine, they'll keep quiet until we tell them it's okay. Todoroki too. Wait, how does he? You told him. Well, it was after you kissed me on the roof of the dorm, and he was genuinely concerned, so I didn't really have much of a choice. He's not going to tell anyone. Yeah, highly unlikely. I can tell he hates gossiping. Okay, so that's 3. Nothing to worry about. It's not going to take long for others to find out though. Especially Mr. Aizawa. Or Ms. Midnight. Or All Might, for that matter. I'm not worried about the teachers. They're adults, they know when and where to be tactful and subtle. I'm more worried about Kaminari, Mineta, Hagakure, those people. I know, Izuku said with a sigh as he scratched his head. How are we going to keep this under wraps though? We can't exactly be meeting behind everyone's back. That's virtually impossible. It's only a matter of time before someone inevitably catches on. We need something, a cover story. Excuses to meet, and, you know. Like what? Like, how about, then it hit her. Oh, I know. Music lessons. Come again. We already did the culture festival, so say that you were inspired and wanna give a shot at making music yourself. Something like that. Just like that, out of the blue. That seems unbecoming and super out of character of me. What makes you think they'll buy it? Look, think about it this way. If you actively try to be covert, they'll know something's up, especially in your case, because you suck at lying. But if you're excessively overt that the overtness sticks out like a sore thumb, you become covert. So a gambit of sorts. Misdirection. Exactly. Risky. Yes. Effective. Also yes. Just so long as you don't slip up. You mean as long as we don't slip up? We're in this together, Kyoka. I have felt you staring at me during training exercises. Jirou felt her cheeks and ears grow hot. Could he blame her though? After last night. Fair enough. But you actually have to, though, to convince them. Learn how to play an instrument, I mean. And how do you expect me to do that? I do still have extensive ligament damage on both arms. I'm not entirely sure if my fingers are up for any delicate movements on a fretboard. It doesn't have to be a guitar. We'll take it slow. Okay. You could also say that it's part of rehab. They'll definitely buy that. I wanna make this work with you. Don't you? Yes, I do. Izuku twirled Jirou's bangs with his fingers before continuing. He couldn't risk not being caught on security cameras in the classroom, which there definitely were, although he knew not where or how many. Of course I do. but we are going to be walking on paper-thin ice for God knows how long. She took his hand and gave it a reassuring squeeze with a nervous smile. Hey, at least we're doing it together, right? Also, we may have to dial the PDA back a couple notches outside the dorms. As much as I hate to say it. Right, but can we really do that though? We'll have to at least try. Yeah, but can we though? You still up for the disarm practice for Thursday? Not wanting to grace that rhetorical question with an answer, Izuku immediately changed the subject. Duh, she replied, snickering with a playful poke in the ribs, widening her smile. Great. Oh, one more thing before everyone comes back. What? Gimme a hug, please. Izuku couldn't find it in his heart to say no. Yaoyorozu convened 4 of the 5 female classmates around her desk after classes to address an issue that has been bothering her today. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. This'll only take a moment of your time. What's the matter, Yaoyorozu? You seem, I don't know, perplexed. I do believe that would be the apt description, Asui. Yes, perplexed. Yaoyorozu scratched her cheek with a finger, as her eyes went to Jirou, who was getting ready to leave. About Jirou, actually. Ribbit. Why's that? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself. She just seems to be smiling more these few days. Isn't that a good thing though? Yes, of course, that is a good thing. I'm not saying it isn't. Just, she seems a little too happy, if that makes any sense. And not that I am insinuating anything slanderous about a friend, of course. Just making an observation. True, she was grinning hard this morning before class, now that you mention it. Hagakure piped up. I was still half asleep, so I could be wrong, but I think I heard the door open and shut. Maybe she had a good dream and restful night of sleep for a change. Perhaps. Oh yeah, speaking of perplexing, Deku seems a lot more confident these days. I don't hear him stammer or anything that much. Uraraka piped up, spinning a pen between her fingers. Even when he's talking to girls. Hatsume's regularly unhinged violation of personal space didn't faze him like it usually would. The reaction was minimal, I guess. Again, isn't that a good thing that his social ineptitude is lessening? Asui asked Uraraka this time. No, it's great. It is a good thing, Sue. I'm not saying it isn't. Not being flustered is great. Just, I dunno. Uraraka wasn't sure how to put it in words, but something felt amiss. She just couldn't quite place what that was. Just then, the door to the classroom slid open, and Izuku walked in. Surprised, Okako squeaked, the pen being spun absent-mindedly between her fingers, flying through the air. Izuku caught it, clapping his hands together on the way to his desk, and handed it back to her. Sorry about that, did I scare you? No, it's fine, my stupid mistake. Sorry, accidents happen, don't worry. I just came back to grab something from my desk. See you back in the dorms later. With a casual wave of his hand, Izuku left the classroom, once again leaving only the girls. It is different, yeah, but I think I like the confidence in him. Baby Green's finally turning over a new leaf. Ashido commented quietly with a smile. Wait, was that supposed to be a pun? Hagakure asked. No. Yo. No, I have standards, silly girl. She laughed, dismissing the unintentional pun with a wave of her hand. But Yaomomo, in all seriousness, why is this bothering you so much that you called all of us here to talk about it? Can't you just ask Midoriya or Jirou straight up what's got them so energetic and high-functioning? That wouldn't be very polite of me though, would it? She is a valued friend, yours and mine. But I don't see how it is my place to pry into her private affairs. It wouldn't be right. Right. Just like Uraraka pleaded the fifth when she was asked if she had feelings for Midoriya, I don't want to force anything out of her. Why are you bringing that up? Uraraka shouted, waving her hands in a small panic. That may be the case, Suyu said with a fingertip on her lip, but it's just asking politely. If she wants to answer, she will. If she doesn't, then you back away. That's all there is to it. It's better to ask for permission than to beg for forgiveness, as the saying goes. True. I guess. I will then. I will ask her. Thank you for your time, everyone. Now, all I have to do is find an opportune moment. The meeting adjourned, and everyone headed straight for the dorms. Uraraka saw Izuku running laps in the courtyard, accelerating for a minute, then stopping from time to time for more shadowboxing, push-ups, burpees, and other such exercises in full cowl mode. Typical Deku, the hard worker as always. But the weird feeling was stuck in her mind like a splinter that was wedged deep under the skin. Should she ask him what changed him so? It was an innocent question, not like asking if he has a crush on someone or his sexual proclivities like Mineta would, blatantly and in public. Like Asui said, if he doesn't want to answer then she can just apologize, back away and not force the issue any further. But the utter dread of the possibility being right compelled her to clamp her mouth shut. Hey, Uraraka, you coming? Or did ya wanna keep staring at Midoriya? Either way's fine with me. I am not, wait for me. Uraraka ran to catch up to her friends, away from Izuku, away from the opportune moment to ask him anything that was on her mind at the time. Having confirmed that everyone in his class had cleared out, Izuku pulled out his phone and sent a text to Jirou. They're all gone now, I think. I know I'm the one that suggested it, but I feel kinda bad having to do this though. Dating behind people's backs, I mean. Well, neither one of us was comfortable of letting everyone know, so here we are. But we can think of it as a training exercise for going undercover. Sort of. Everything's a training exercise to you, isn't it? Neerrrrd. Hey, it's a valid and necessary skill that we'll need at some point. Hopefully not, but it will come up at some point. What? Going undercover in the League of Villains? You. Right, when Shuji finally shows his face to the class. Or when that Monoma guy from 1B suddenly stops being a dick. Oh haha, Midoriya. His texting was interrupted by Aizawa, with a folded up sleeping bag under his arm and the other hand sucking on the straw protruding from an energy drink. You have some time right now. Mr. Aizawa. Do you or not? Why yes sir. Is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I was just wondering if you could drop by and visit Eri. Togator already went, and it has been a while since she saw you. It was true. After rescuing her from the 8 precepts of death and shattering their operation, UA had taken her into their custody to protect her from villains that would abuse her quirk and protect others from her quirk. Aizawa volunteered to take care of her, being the only pro-hero with the quirk to suppress her powers from acting out of control. The last time they saw each other was during the cultural festival when she was on Mirio's shoulders when she smiled for the first time. Of course. I'd be glad to. Would it be alright if I bring someone along with me? Who? Jirou. She was the lead vocal and bass for the culture festival and is directly responsible for restoring her smile. Getting her used to smiling would be a step in the right direction for her, and well, the only solution that I know that works is music. At least, that's my vote. Sound logic. Do it. Make the call, make it quick. He almost sounded impatient. Yes sir. Izuku quickly explained the situation through a text and asked Jirou to hurry over, to which she immediately acquiesced, acoustic guitar case in tow. In a matter of minutes, they were loaded into a car and instructed to put on earplugs and blindfolds for the sake of security before driving off. Mr. Aizawa. Izuku called out, blindfolded and barely able to hear the sound of the car running. What? A muffled voice from the front seat replied. Couldn't you have, brought along Mu's joke for this? She could definitely make Eri laugh. Even without a quirk, I think. Emi Fukukudo aka the smile hero Mu's joke had a quirk that made others in her immediate surrounding area double over in gut-busting laughter, rendering them powerless, making villains easy pickings. It may come in handy. Plus, she was a good-natured person from what Izuku could tell before the license exams took place. Being the yang to his yin, Mu's joke and him seemed to make a pretty good combination despite Aizawa's blatant expressions of annoyance at his acquaintances' antics every time they meet. No. He gave a flat reply as he took a right. She has her own work cut out at Ketsubatsu Academy, and it's not my place to have her come over on a whim. That and he didn't want her constantly trying to make him laugh with her quirk, which only served to exacerbate the dry eye condition he had. Besides, there's no point in making Eri laugh through such artificial means. It needs to be genuine. That's why you asked to bring her along, isn't it? Right, of course. Mr. Aizawa, I've never met her, so is there anything I should know about her? What she likes, what she doesn't, certain dos and don'ts. She likes apples, and cats, and drawing. Just, Try not to point out the bizarreness of some of them. Keep an open mind. Here we are. Pulling into the parking area, he opened the car trunk and pulled out a large bag. He took the blindfolds off of them once they were inside his apartment. Whoa. Is this where you live, Mr. Aizawa? The room was a large, well-lit studio apartment with a veranda that was kept spare with simple furnishings. There was a crochet next to the couch where two cats were lounging around. Got a problem? He shot a sharp look, daring Izuku to say anything. No sir, I wasn't really sure what to expect when you said we're going to meet. Deku. A small girl with white hair and a horn sticking out from the right side of her forehead appeared seemingly out of nowhere and tackled Izuku with a hug. Hey, Eri, how have you been? Izuku asked as he picked her up and swung her around twice before putting her down. He knelt in front of her to meet her at eye level. Really good. I missed you so much. She was smiling. It was a good sign. I missed you too. I'm sorry I haven't been able to keep in touch with you. It's okay. I know you're busy trying to save lots and lots of people. Then she noticed Jirou with her guitar case standing behind him, not really sure what to do as Aizawa began unpacking the bag. Wait, you were the one singing at the culture festival. Oh, you remember me? Yeah, you were so cool. I wanna sing like that too. Thanks. Jirou blushed as she smiled, holding out her hand as she knelt beside Izuku. I'm Kyuka. Nice to meet you, Eri. You're friends with Deku, right? Yeah, I am. We're in the same class, actually. So you're a hero too. On my way to becoming one, but yeah. Getting there. What's that? Eri pointed at the black case Jirou was carrying. Oh, my guitar. It's different from the one you saw me playing on the stage. Want me to play something? Yes, please. Can she, Uncle Shota? Can she? Eri, what did I tell you about using your inside voice? He said with a relatively soft expression but with a voice no less stern than with his students. Sorry, but, can she, though? Please. Aizawa had already given up quite a while ago in his attempts to resist Eri's ruby red eyes look up at him like that. With a sigh, he nodded. Yes, but nothing too loud. The doors are labeled, so find your own way to the bathroom. I'm going to put these away and do some other work. There's drinks in the fridge, so help yourself. Unless there's an emergency, don't bother me. Right, of course. So, what are you going to play? Eri asked Jirou excitedly, her eyes sparkling in anticipation. I'll play a classic. Izuku, I'm sure you've at least heard of this song. As Jirou began strumming, Izuku nodded and smiled. It was an American classic, Piano Man. While Izuku had no instrument, he still could whistle, so he whistled along with the guitar as he stood up, having Eri stand on his feet. Holding her hands, he gently swayed and spun around to the song. It didn't take long before she was joining in the singing as well. For half an hour, they went on, singing and dancing to one song after another. Love Potion Number 9, Sweet Home Alabama, Another One Bites the Dust, Here Comes the Sun and Hallelujah. Can you play A Whole New World? Eri asked, the smile now a full-grown ear-to-ear grin. Oh, you're a fan of Disney. Uncle Shota lets me watch some of it on. I think it was called, Hula. No, that's the hoop. Car. No, definitely not that, Izuku said while Jirou was covering her mouth, silently dying of laughter. Where the hell did she even hear that word in the first place? I got it. Hulu. Yeah, that's it. Hulu. Can you do it, Kyoka? I don't see why not. Plus there are vocals for a guy and a girl each, so it should work out fine. I'm not entirely familiar with the lyrics by heart, so let me pull it up. Okay, ready to go. Izuku sat down on the couch next to Jirou as she began. Eri meanwhile sat on the carpet, hugging her knees together and rocking back and forth restlessly as if she were actually watching the most famous and romantic magic carpet ride scene happening right now for real. It didn't take long before the singing evolved into a dance, musical number with Izuku and Jirou standing up, gesticulating as they swayed around, even picking Jirou up bridal style as she continued to play, all the way until the end. That was awesome. You're both so good at singing. It's like a musical. Singing isn't really my thing though. Kyoka's infinitely better than me. Of course I am. Jirou's face glowed a light shade of pink as she smiled with pride. Deku. Are you and Kyoka dating? Izuku swore his heart stopped and made him black out for a few seconds. Jirou was frozen in place as well, her fingers accidentally snapping one of the guitar strings. What on earth gave you that impression, Eri? Izuku asked softly, trying not to imagine the icy words of reprimand from Aizawa. No reason. Just, you two seemed really, how do I say this? Wait a minute. Uncle Shota, what was that word you said about how people act when they really start having fun with what they're doing? Being into it. An answer came from behind the door. Yes, that. Thank you, Uncle Shota. You two were really into it. And you were looking at each other like Simba and Nala. Jirou wanted to deny it. She really did. But she couldn't, because it was true. Izuku and she were looking at each other with a slightly seductive shade and they both knew it, but it was not something that they could openly admit to a child that was barely 10 years of age. Especially because of the implications of what the lion and lioness do off screen after that particular musical number. So, are you, Eri? We. Yes, we are, Izuku whispered. Dude, really? But don't tell Mr. Aizawa about this, okay? Jirou sighed. She knew Izuku couldn't find it in his heart to lie to a little girl's face. Even if it was about their relationship. Okay, promise. Pinky swear, Eri said as she held her pinky out. Izuku wrapped his finger around hers and motioned Jirou to do the same. She just sat there for about 5 seconds in silence before complying. Well, Midoriya, your plan worked. Aizawa sighed, his eyes flicking back to Eri who was asleep on the couch with a blanket covering her. Thank you. How much longer will Eri be staying with you, by the way? As long as she has to. Until she can control her quirk. Although he most certainly will not admit to it, Izuku could tell this was going to hinder Aizawa severely. He was a pro-hero, a teacher at UA and a surrogate father figure to Eri, each one a full-time responsibility, each one just as important as the next. It was clear he could only stretch himself out so thin for so long. He had to find an alternative quickly. But Mr. Aizawa, won't that take time? Yes. But at this moment, I'm the only one that can do this without Eri ending up hurting anyone, undoing everything we've done to help her. This is the only way for now. Good job for tonight, both of you. I already sent a message to your classmates that you had business to attend at my discretion, exempting you from any penalties for not being back before curfew. Needless to say, Eri's location must remain absolutely confidential. The fewer people there are that know her whereabouts, the better. Do not even breathe a word of this to anyone. Do I make myself clear? Yes, sir. Izuku and Jirou answered in unison. Good. Hearing a rhythmic knock at the door, Aizawa motioned the duo to put the blindfolds and earplugs back on and ushered them out of the apartment. They were led away back to the car and were let out in front of the dorms. Well, that worked spectacularly, don't you think? Jirou asked with a smile, giving Izuku a nudge. Plus, you actually do have a good voice for singing. You never told me that. Well, you never asked and I never knew. Still the second day being significant others, remember. I can't believe that actually slipped my mind. Jirou smacked herself in the forehead. But thanks for bringing me along. That was fun, and Eri was so damn adorable. She clearly has taken a liking to you and your music. Who knows, maybe you'll be teaching her how to play a guitar in the future. Doesn't sound like a bad idea at all. But why all the discretion? What exactly is Eri's quirk? Looking around cautiously, Izuku whispered in her ear exactly what she can do and the danger it posed to others and the user. What the fuck? That's insane. Yeah, it is. Which is why Mr. Aizawa is so careful right now. He's tight roping across a knife edge. He said he'll think of something, so let's trust his judgment for now. He could always consult the high-spec bipedal mammalian headmaster known as Nedzu as well, after all. As they stepped back in the dorm, they saw Yaoyorozu was in the middle of her study sessions with some of the classmates in the living room sitting in a semicircle in front of a whiteboard. Seeing their return, Ida stood up and walked up to them. Midoriya, Jirou, what in the world were you two doing? We got a message from Mr. Aizawa about doing something on his behalf past curfew, but you're all right, correct? No injuries, trauma or anything of the sort? Yeah. Izuku nodded, throwing up a peace sign. Throat's slightly sore. That and I'm really hungry, but that's it. Thanks. Same with me. Sore fingers but nothing dangerous, don't worry. Jirou threw up a horn sign, grinning. Walking over to the fridge, she pulled out a sandwich wrapped in tinfoil. I'm gonna drop this off in my room and eat my leftovers. See you later. Hey, Deku. Uraraka spoke up. Yeah. Izuku turned around, looking straight at her. It was that smile. That usual smile he had on. Only wider. Brighter, for some reason. It's AAU. Do you have cough drops? Again, Uraraka stopped herself at the last second before asking the question that really mattered. I'm not sure yet. I'll check when I get back to my room. If you're willing to share, thank you so much. I'm gonna use the stairs. My legs could use a stretch after the car ride. Izuku headed for the stairwell while Jirou started for the elevator. The first floor was left in silence for a full 30 seconds until Sero broke it. Okay, please someone other than me say that they are noticing the mount. Lady-sized freaking elephant in the room. What do you mean? Satu asked, utterly confused as to what he was implying. Don't you think that was weird? Them coming back in together. After curfew. Unusual, yes. Tokiyami agreed as he closed his notebook and leaned back on the couch. But considering we did receive notification from our homeroom teacher beforehand, it's nothing earth-shattering, to say the least. Plus, we don't exactly live in a world where the word, weird, is applicable. Would this not count as a simple case of coincidence? Maybe, but, I mean, come on. Please tell me someone sensed a weird vibe going on between them throwing up gang signs like that. Kaminari. The blonde teen frowned. I mean, it's not impossible, I guess. But come on, this is Midoriya we're talking about. He'd probably keel over from a heart attack just from the effort of asking someone out on a date. Sure, he's probably got his fair share of fantasies and such, but him with Jirou. Nah, man, I can't really see that happening. Indeed, Ida boomed. Midoriya may have his social quirks and such, but he is someone that has always had his priorities straight. He is a paragon of work ethic and tenacity. For him to compromise that would be nothing short of. Shut the fuck up. Bakugo shouted over Ida, his roar of anger echoing slightly. Jesus H fuck, 4 eyes. Why the fuck do any of you peons give a shit what that little nerd is up to? Why the fuck would it matter? To any of you. If he falls behind, good goddamn riddance. He's been a fucking eyesore my entire fucking life. And I don't need your fucking trash speculations about who he's fucking. Keep them the fuck to yourself. Fed up, he headed for the elevator in a huff. Well, ribbit, Asui muttered. Nuances and presentation littered with cluster F strikes aside, Bakugo does have a point there. I mean, are any of you in a romantic relationship with Midoriya or Jirou currently and would like to share it with everyone? No, Sue, but still. Aren't you interested even a little about the authenticity of that speculation? Asui simply shrugged at Sero's question. I'd be lying if I say no. But not to the point where I'd go out of my way to find out, either. In a relationship or not, it wasn't really going to change anything for her, so it was of little importance, although if they were, she did plan on congratulating him properly. All of you, calm down. And Sero, quit slandering his good name. It's quite rude to gossip about such baseless speculations when you don't have any hard evidence. There's neither physical proof nor testimony that would substantiate such a preposterous claim. Ida's hands chopped up and down in its usual bizarre fashion in an effort to have the subject dropped altogether. What about you, Mineta? Sero asked. You'd be the type that'd be chomping at the bit to know this type of shit. Doesn't really interest me to be honest. The entire room went silent. Say what now? Sero said after cleaning out his ear with his pinky. Alright, who the hell are you and what have you done with Mineta? Kaminari demanded. What? I'm Minoru Mineta and I'm telling the truth. It doesn't really matter to me. It was true. While Jirou indeed was attractive, Mineta's tastes leaned more towards women with voluptuous assets, which in his eyes she was lacking to be worth his attention. Now I know this guy's a fucking imposter. Satu, hold him down. Yaomomo, gimme a pair of handcuffs and Ojiro, get the sriracha sauce from the fridge. We're gonna jam it up his nose. He's gotta be a villain in disguise or that woman from Shikitsu spying on us. Gotcha now, bitch. Get your hands off of me. Mineta screamed, flailing uselessly as Satu got a hold of him before he could flee. Ah, Kaminari, what are you doing with Mineta? Once again, the room went silent as Izuku came back down in sweatpants and a hoodie with a bewildered look at what was happening. Oh, Midoriya, perfect timing. Go to the fridge and get us some mustard. We need to see who this faux Mineta is. Faux Mineta. What brought that accusation about? Well, he didn't show any interest when we were just talking about speculations of romantic relationships. Oh, maybe he's turning over a new leaf. Dude, stop bullshitting yourself, even you don't believe that for a second. Can you pass the mustard though? I mean, I don't see any actually. Izuku lied. Seriously. Plastic jar, black top, right. It's gone, jar and all. Goddammit. Sriracha's gotta do. Izuku merely shrugged and took his bottle filled with a protein shake out and headed back up the stairs. So, how was it going down there? Jirou asked, leaning against the banister in more loose-fitting clothes. Speculative romantic relationships were the subject of the hour, apparently. No fingers were pointed and I didn't hear any names, so I think we'll be okay. For today at least. You sure you don't want to just go downstairs and get it over with? It's better to come clean than be discovered. I know that we can't hide this forever, but, soon, okay. She caressed his cheek and gave him a peck. Not yet. The fewer know, the better. Okay, I'm not in a hurry. But, you have to admit that we do need to tell people that we can trust to give us a hand in order to hide tease. Wait, I'm contradicting myself. Let me try that again. No, I get it. Our situation isn't like Eri's, so if it's discovered, it's discovered. No real harm done. I do see sense in having at least one or two more people to keep this under wraps for us. Who would your go-to be? Tokiyami, I guess. Either him or Asui. I'd go for either Kuda or Yaomomo. Kuda I can understand since you did the end of the term practical together, but why Yaoyorozu? Oh, right, you don't know this. We fought at USJ and during the license exam together. We covered each other's backs, so in terms of doing so in every sense of the word, I trust her the most. You, wanna do this now? Knock on the doors and all. No, Izuku said firmly. I won't unless you're 100% comfortable doing so, and I can tell that you're at least 95% uncomfortable. Like I said, I can wait. Let's make this work for both of us. Plus, I have to admit, this is kind of fun. Izuku whispered in Jirou's ear, making her shudder and squirm. What? You think you're an undercover agent or something? You sound like such a child. She chuckled as she took one of Izuku's scarred hands and kissed his knuckles before pressing it against her face, leaning into him. So. Yes. Our first date. When and where? Would our trip to see Eri? No, that won't count. Jirou cut him off quickly with a glare. Dummy. You're taking me on one eventually. The disarm practice tomorrow. Doesn't count either. It's at school. Stop being a dick. Jirou gave him a playful slap on his butt and kissed him up against the banister. I know. We'll have our first proper date. Give me some time to plan. Outmaneuvering 18 other people is going to be, well, not impossible, but really, really difficult. I don't hear you complaining. You're fucking grinning like an idiot. So are you. They kissed some more and let their hands linger over each other, anticipating much action when the weekend comes rolling by as the cameras on the school campus and other factors prevented them from having any extended romantic interactions. Hey Kyoka. Yes. Jirou looked up at him, her chin resting on his shoulder. I still can't believe it's only been a day since you became my girlfriend. Get used to it, Izuku. You're stuck with me for a long ride. Oh. And I'm going to your room tonight, by the way. Wait, what? You heard me. But no hickeys or bite marks this time, okay? Those are so hard to get rid of. Okay, fair enough. But, Mineta and Aoyama live right next to me, so just be careful. What exactly did you have in mind? Jirou only held up one of the blindfolds she kept with a seductive, evil smile and answered with one word, exploration. Just make sure you don't tucker yourself out before I get there. I need to go eat. With one last kiss, Jirou walked up the stairs to the 3rd floor and to her room with a bounce in her gait. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.